Okay, so Bitcoin just shattered the all-time high. What do you think is going to happen next? Are we going to continue to pump? Do you think we'll see a savage pullback? In today's video, I'm going to break down some of the things we see historically and what you should be looking out for. First of all, it's often an altcoin season trigger. Okay, so historically, after Bitcoin breaks all-time high, attention then shifts to the altcoins. So you could expect to start to see that trickle down effect that we've spoken about previously, where it'll go from Bitcoin down into Ethereum, down into the blue chips, if you like, into the mid caps, and then into the small caps and some of the lower memes and things like that. So what we need to be looking for that to as a signal of that is the Bitcoin dominance. So if we start to see that Bitcoin dominance start to come down, that means we should be starting to see that. Now, we know historically the top levels have been around that 40% Bitcoin dominance, somewhere around there. The other thing we should be looking out for is stablecoin dominance. So not a lot of people look for the stablecoin dominance, but there's an important level at the moment. It's around a 3.7% area of stablecoin dominance we should be looking at. It's sort of been bouncing off that. If we start to break through that, that's also going to be a good sign for the altcoin season, right? Because it'll mean, as with Bitcoin, where the liquidity flows from the Bitcoin into the other coins, it's the same with the stable coins, right? So we want to start to see that flow coming through as well. The other thing we should be then looking for is the influx of the retail, so the FOMO from the retail investors that aren't in the market at the moment. So when it breaks all-time high, what you tend to see is you see all of that mainstream media, so the papers, the radio, the news on TV, all those things, they all start covering Bitcoin, right? And when I know is at the back end of the news here, they'll do like how the top companies are going, what the US dollar is, whatever, and they'll have Bitcoin in there. And then for the 3.5 years of the bear and that, you never hear of it again. So those sorts of things you'll start to see happen, right? You'll have the narratives like, it's not too late, new all-time high coming, super cycle. It's going to be a super cycle, 250K BTC by the end of the year. All that sort of stuff's going to come through, right? So just be careful of the euphoria that you're going to see. Like it usually builds probably from now all the way through and just gets worse as you go through. You're just going to hear so much of it. It won't last forever because at some point we'll start to see us coming down the other side and into another bear, if you believe in the 4-year cycle. So just make sure you don't let your emotions get too caught up in that. And it's very hard not to, okay? So just be really careful. You're going to have institutional momentum. So the ETF inflows, we've seen them moving. So we'll start to see them spiking more as well because they'll start to think, well, Bitcoin has now proven itself, okay? You're going to have wealth managers. They're going to start to add the exposure for their clients. They're going to be saying, look, I think you should have 1 to 2% of your overall net worth in Bitcoin. Okay, and you'll see more of them come on board because they're going to be more trusted. You're seeing BlackRock, Grayscale, Vanguard, like all of them are coming in and doing it, right? So they're going to get more clients on board. You're going to have all of traditional institutions, right? So listen out for their company treasury statements. And we've seen it over the last few months. More and more of these traditional institutions are coming out and saying, we're now holding Bitcoin on our balance sheet, okay? And I expect that to just ramp up, okay? The other thing is then going to be the wealth effect across the market in general. So as I just said, when Bitcoin pumps, portfolio values increase, gives investors confidence, okay? And then what happens? They start taking profits, they start rotating. So that's going to be that key where we need to look at that Bitcoin dominance because that's going to be so important as we move on through this market and just how much that comes down. You're going to have a shift in the market psychology as well, right? So sentiment starts to flip, so be careful. You're going to have the optimism and you, at the moment you've got the cautious optimism. It's going to go to full-blown excitement, okay? So greed is going to go through the roof. The fear and greed index is going to pump. You're going to Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Discord, all of them are going to be filled with it's a super cycle, right? BTC or whatever your altcoin is, it's going to the moon. That's all you're going to hear. And you start to seek out that confirmation bias and you start to buy into it. So again, it's the mental side. The mental side is by far the hardest side of crypto. I believe it is. So that's going to be the thing that you want to try not to get caught up in. Hopefully you've set your strategy, or you're setting your strategy. You've got your tools in your toolbox to get you through that, and you stick to it. Most importantly, stick to your strategy, because it's so easy to throw it out the window as you're going along. You've got to expect pullbacks, shakeouts, like they're all going to come. They're going to get rid of the weekends, okay? We're going to see a retest of all-time highs. We're going to see dips along the way. It's all normal. It's all healthy for the market. You're going to see them. Expect them. Don't get shaken out. Stick to your strategy, okay? Your strategy might say that this all-time high was when you were getting out. Get out. Stick to it. You know, me, I feel we've still got more to run. As I've said, I feel we're going into Q4, but then the indicators may change before then. And if those indicators change, because my strategy revolves around indicators, if they signal what I need them to signal, I'm getting out. That could be July, it could be December. I don't know. But that's my strategy. So I'm sticking to my strategy. I'm not waiting for Bitcoin to go to 250K or 200K or whatever before I start getting out of things. Okay, so again, stick to that strategy. What the smart investors will be doing though, you're sticking to your plan. If there's opportunities, you might DCA in, but take profits on the way up as well. Rebalance if needed, but take profits as you go. No one ever went broke taking profits. Don't chase pumps. Whatever you do, don't chase pumps. As I said, set your targets, whether they're price targets, whether they're indicator targets. Have that risk management ahead of time. Have it planned out ahead of time. Because when your emotions are running your risk management, you're in all sorts of trouble. Diversify into those stronger sections, okay? Because you got your narrative-based tokens. Every token fits into a narrative. So you're going to have your real-world assets. You're going to have DeepIn. You're going to have AI. You're going to have layer 2. You're going to have layer 1. You're going to have, storage. You're going to have all those things. You're going to have interoperability, like everything. And they'll take their turns in pumping. So set your strategy not just around your overall portfolio, but have a strategy for each token in that portfolio. That's going to also be important because they will pump at different times. The whole market's not going to pump together. It doesn't work like that. So they're going to pump at different times. Have a strategy for every token within your portfolio so you know when you're going to start to exit that, start to take profits, whatever the case may be, right? You're going to have the government regulation is going to be really interesting for this one because the last one they were trying to shut down and restrict crypto, whereas you've got the US government definitely much more open to it, okay? So with the all-time highs coming and more news around it, it's going to bring more attention, but there was already so much attention to it. So I can't see that doing damage. I think it might speed some things up, help some things along, bring countries and corporations and things like that in earlier that may have been on the fence, potentially. But they're the sorts of things, right? But just be careful of the headlines around taxation, around regulation, around, ETF exposures, all that sort of stuff, because they will impact the sentiment and they will cause short-term volatility. We've seen it every single cycle that's happened, okay? And reality is, in previous cycles, there's often been a pullback or a trap after the all-time high break, okay? So we've seen with the Golden Cross video I did yesterday, we saw those pullbacks. You'll often see with the all-time high, you'll get a pullback. Now, that drop can be 10, 20% even at times. It'll shake out the weak hands. If you've got your strategy and you're sticking to it, that shouldn't matter to you. Just stick to your strategy. Don't be shaken out. And whatever that strategy is, again, not a financial advisor, you do you. But whatever that is, don't be shaken out because we are going to get these drops along the way. We have in every other cycle. And until I see something otherwise, I'm going to assume that this cycle is going to run like other cycles. It's not going to be exact, but there will be those similarities. We'll get pullbacks. They may be different. They may be different sizes, but we'll definitely get those pullbacks, I believe, okay? And the thing to think about is when we get those pullbacks, they are often setting up for that next leg up. So that's the other thing. If you look at the charts, you'll see after the golden cross, we had a bit of a dip. It was setting up for the next leg up, right? And we see that in a lot, not all of them. Some of them continue to go up and we didn't get that pullback. So don't count on there being one. But over the last few, majority have had that little bit of a pullback. So again, just treat it how you want to treat it, but keep that on your mind, okay? But the reality is Bitcoin, it's broken its all-time high, and that's not just a headline. Like, it's a signal that we are heading, I believe that we are heading into the bull run. It is, things are starting to heat up, okay? Altcoins could then follow. Retail could pile in. Volatility is going to be guaranteed, okay? But remember, the biggest gains come for those who stay smart, stay strategic, have that toolbox, stick to that plan. Now's not the time for FOMO. Like, it really isn't the time for FOMO. You just need to really pay attention, get as much information as you can, stick to that plan, and work your way through that bull run how you best see fit. Play it however you want to play it. But look, if you got value out of this video, please hit that like button, smash the subscribe, click the bell notification so you get notified every time I release a new video, and I'll see you in the next one.